Hello, thank you for joining me for my first ever video, and today I'm going to be talking about Baby Reindeer and why it's confusing me so much. Baby Reindeer is this extraordinary true story that exploded when it debuted on Netflix recently. A story about a comedian trying to make it into the industry, being relentlessly stalked by a sociopath, psychopath, whatever she is. But what confuses me is, how should I feel about it? I'm sure by now, if you've found my little YouTube channel, then you have probably watched Baby Reindeer already. It's been a little bit impossible to miss. If you haven't watched it and you have a day to spare, go and binge watch the whole thing in one day. If you like a sense of being creeped out and feeling uneasy, it's a guarantee it's worth it. I'm usually that one hipster friend who doesn't want to watch the TV show that everyone's talking about because if it's too mainstream, then it can't be that good. I didn't watch Star Wars until I was in my mid-20s, and that was only because my friends locked me in their apartment, Clockwork Orange nightmare style, until I sat down and watched it with them. But my partner encouraged me to watch Baby Reindeer, and I gave it a go. I'd heard it was based on real-life story, and I thought it might be a bit interesting. I thought it would be every episode is a small story about a different stalker, different theme stalker every episode, but was I wrong? It was about one man and one woman entwined in some creepy, sad, shocking, confusing love story. I don't know. I would fully recommend watching the whole TV show before you continue with this video. Later, put in your watch later tab, go watch it and come back. So now I'll give a quick overview of the TV show, very, very, very brief. If you've seen it already, please skip ahead, or if you don't want any spoilers, again, please skip ahead. So in the opening scene, we see Donnie. Donnie is a bartender slash comedian based on and played by the actor Richard Gadd. He befriends a lonely woman at the bar out of sympathy, and she turns out to be an obsessive stalker who won't leave him alone. He also has a secret life as a man called Tony, who is dating and in love with a transgender woman, but he tries to keep his Donnie life and his Tony life separate from each other. He also has one more, much darker secret. 5 years prior to where we start the story, he was doing a comedy routine in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Fringe, which I would love to go to. He met a screenwriter who took a liking to his routine and to Donnie himself as friends, so they started hanging out together, and then he helped Donnie with his script and helped improve his show. But helping Donnie wasn't the only intentions of the screenwriter. He also drugged and sexually abused Donnie at his apartment. As things escalate with Martha, she starts to get more violent and more dangerous, attacking Donnie's ex-girlfriend in the street, throwing liquid on her, turning up at Donnie's apartment and joining the cooking club of his landlord slash ex-girlfriend's mother, which is a whole different separate issue with there going on. Attacking his trans partner and pulling her hair out, telling Donnie's parents that he's been in a terrible car accident and constantly harassing them and Donnie, increasing her stalker-like behavior. But it finally goes too far for Donnie. When she threatens to stab him and his parents, he finally takes that report to the police investigators, who up to this point have not really been able to do anything, because it turns out without a threat of violence, there's nothing they can do about a woman who's stalking a man like this. The only thing they can do is warn them both to stay away from each other.
Now don't do it again.
And, well, that's it really. But with this threat of actual physical violence and evidence of this on his phone, they can finally take Martha to court, sentenced to prison. But that's not the end of Donnie's troubles. I really do implore you to go and watch this show. It's very interesting, and my summary cannot do it justice. The heightened emotions and feelings that you go through when you watch this show, it really is incredible. It's kind of crazy to think what you're watching, according to Netflix executives and Richard Gadd, is a true story. Not just based on a true story. They say it is a true story. What we see on TV is what happened in real life. It's an 8-episode TV show, and at the end of every episode, I was left feeling just a sense of, what have I just witnessed? There was anger, confusion, disgust, but also sympathy and a desire for it to have a happy ending. My mind was telling me that this is just a TV show, but I had to keep reminding myself that this could be true. It could all be true. So after watching the show and speaking to my partner, looking online about everyone and what they think and feel, and speaking to my dad, who was a policeman in UK for a very long time, about his opinion, one thing I've noticed is everyone's opinion is different. And everyone has different thoughts and different ideas of what the characters should have done, or what they did wrong, or who did what wrong, or what had the biggest impact. Just everyone has a different view of the TV show. We see everything that happens. We all watch the same thing, but people have different interpretations and opinions. And I think that's what helps drive the discussion after the show is finished. But I don't know what my opinion is. I'm still confused. Usually after we watch a TV show or a movie, when it finishes, my partner will Google, tell me some extra spoiler or what the ending meant or something like that. And it's like, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. But this time, there is no end. It's not finished. The show is over, but the story is going on. After the show, opening Reddit, looking at different YouTube interpretations and reviews of the TV show, reading articles and interviews, I feel like I'm an investigator looking for pieces of a puzzle that I thought was finished. I'm more confused than ever. As humans, we always crave more. We owe our success down to our pattern recognition. Not only that, but it helps. We see the puzzle pieces fit together. We see that when you push a mammoth off a cliff, it's easier than trying to hunt it yourself. We see that A plus B equals C, and we look for more. That's what makes humans unique. We are always looking for more. We question things and we want knowledge. I remember watching an episode of Doctor Who when I was younger, and he ripped the last page of a book out. His sidekick asked him, Why did you do that? And he said,
I always rip out the last page of a book, and it doesn't have to end. I hate endings.
And when I heard that, it resonated with me. I love stories, but when they end, it's sad. It's never satisfying. We want to know more. We want to know what happened to the character. We want to know what was next. We want to know, how did that change them? What's going on? Why did it happen? Our brains are not satisfied if it just ends. I think that human nature, base instinct, has contributed to what happened after the show. I remember when I was younger and things like Big Brother were just becoming popular, and it was a cool experiment. It was something new, I felt, just to see how real people would deal with different situations. Like, that could have been us in there, but it wasn't their real life. It was just real life people. It was all still just TV. They weren't paid actors. They were real people doing things. Yeah, they'd be in the tabloids after the show, but it's all fabricated and unimportant. And I'm not saying it didn't have an impact on their lives, negative or positive, but it was all entertainment. It's, they went to the beach. They're pregnant. They have OnlyFans. Some might say the 1998 Japanese TV reality show, Susumu Denpa Shonen, also tried very hard to ruin reality TV. The comedian Tomoaki Hamatsu, no clothes, no food, no entertainment, no contact with the outside world or anything. The only thing he had was a magazine. I think every day he was given a different magazine and he had to enter the competitions and live off what he won. And the only way he could end this tormentuous ordeal... Tormentuous? Is tormentuous a word?
Tormentous.
The only way he could end this tormentous 15-month ordeal was to win 1 million yen through his winnings in the magazine. His decline into madness was a bestseller in Japan and is perhaps evidence of how sinister reality TV can be. Baby Reindeer is different. It was entertaining, it was enjoyable, and as creepy and as uncomfortable as it was to watch, it was fun. It's not new to have a TV show based on real-life traumatic events, but it always felt off. It felt strange because the actor in it is who this story is based on. It's real. It's based on Richard Gadd's real life experiences. So we have to take it as fact. And it makes it surreal. It makes it believable. But it's still just a TV show. It's just a TV show. But when it finally finished, that's when things got a bit weird. At first, everyone was having a reactionary post-traumatic experience, discussing what we've just witnessed and how uncomfortable it and how much of an impact it had on us. But it soon descended into chaos. People started to want to find the real Martha. They wanted to find those tweets and messages and Facebook posts and dox her in real life. Richard Gadd not expecting people to do this was obviously wrong. People wanted more. They wanted the real life juicy details. And that's what unsettled me. This is a woman who we believe has psychological problems. That's not to excuse any behavior or anything she's done, but we're trying to entice her. We're trying to entice someone who we believe is very smart but unstable. And then it went even further. The real life Martha, Fiona Harvey, started to be found. People started to share her photos online, share her posts, share her social media accounts, share her history. And wait, isn't this stalking? Isn't this what stalking is? To find someone and relentlessly go after them and find out their history, their past, the details of their life without caring about them and how they feel for our own satisfaction. As a community, as a conglomerate of information-hungry zombies, we are now stalking Fiona Harvey. We are stalking the stalker? And it's worth saying it wasn't just Fiona either. People were looking up Richard Gadd, looking at his old routines, his past, his history, everything, which he must have expected that at least. Maybe he didn't expect us to out Fiona. I say us. I'm not part of this. Maybe he didn't expect Fiona to be outed and hunted down. But he must have expected some repercussion on himself. And finding old clips of his stand-up shows and relating them to the TV show and seeing that, yeah, there are similarities, that it is similar.
I'm joking, God! She's 3 months old!
It does add to the fact that he claims it all to be true. Then came the interview with Piers Morgan. On one side we have, if media is to be believed, a psychotic, delusional, compulsive liar. And on the other side, we have Fiona Harvey. As with the TV show, please, if you haven't watched this interview between Piers Morgan and Fiona, please go ahead and watch. It's very interesting. I'm not going to go through it all in detail. I'll just say some small things that I noticed. But if you're indulged in the Baby Reindeer universe, then it's very interesting. If you haven't watched it already, please do so. It's quite interesting to analyze Fiona's facial movements and compare them to the actress in the TV show and see that they are very, very similar. One thing that stood out to me during the interview was Fiona said she would sue the Netflix executives, Richard Gadd, some journalists, and anyone who claimed that this is a true story as defamation. So, I am not saying that this is all a true story. I want to categorically say, I am not saying that everything you see about Martha in the TV show is true about Fiona. I am not saying that. So don't hurt me, Fiona. Financially. Because it's not true that you're a stalker. Don't sue me, please. With that said, there were a few other observations that I noticed. Or observed. She refutes anything to do with the Baby Netflix show, anything that came out in public after, any opinion, negative opinion that people have about her, everything that happens in the TV show. She says it's all categorically untrue. It's an untruth. Fake news. She says everything that happens is ridiculous. But at the same time, she always gives a reason for it to happen, even if it's not true. She always has excuses for if it came out that it was true. She always makes excuses that if it turns out that this stuff is true, that it's not real, it's not her fault, it's someone else's fault. Someone else did it. For example, she says it's impossible that she sent that many voicemails to Richard Gadd, but maybe someone could have recorded her in the pub and then put it onto his phone and made it a voicemail. She refuses to admit that she sent 10 letters. She said it's not true. But maybe Richard Gadd could have forged her writing from that one letter she did send and made more because he's a psychopath. She denies writing 41,000 emails to Richard Gadd, but says maybe he sent them to himself and pretending to be Fiona because he is a psychopath. And that's another thing that stood out to me. In the interview, at least, she came across as quite vindictive and mean. Granted, she's probably been through a lot recently. There's a lot going on, and she's probably not very happy with everyone right now. And the whole public is making bad assumptions about her, so it's understandable. She might not be feeling so good about humans. But every time she talks about someone who doesn't corroborate her story or says something against her or something that she doesn't like, she always says something mean. She always insults them. It's like she can't help herself but put in a often subtle, sometimes not so subtle, insult. When it came to Richard Gadd, she was quite openly insulting him, calling him a psychopath, saying she doesn't fancy little boys with no jobs, or saying that he had a big green spot on his face. She almost notices that she's getting carried away and she sounds bitter and spiteful and tries to backtrack saying, oh, I know it's not a very nice thing to say, but you said it anyway. Richard isn't the only person that she insults either. When the psychotic, delusional, compulsive liar, Piers Morgan, when Piers Morgan says there is a good resemblance between the woman that plays Martha in the TV show and Fiona, she says, that's not necessarily a compliment. I have a Scottish mother. I'm allowed to do that. Any British person would know she's calling the actress who plays Martha ugly or some kind of insult. When they're talking about a woman who previously filed a case against Fiona, she constantly says that, oh, she mucked it up. She did it wrong. She mucked it up. She couldn't do it. And again, she's just insulting her intelligence and saying that the woman is not smart enough to do it properly. And she even did it to the host who's paying her to be there. When they're having a discussion, she says to Piers Morgan that she acknowledges that he does know about the prison and the justice system because she knows he's done Woman Behind Bars, the TV show. But then she caveats that with, I've only watched one episode. Which again is just an insult. Say, oh yeah, I watched it, but it wasn't that good. I only watched one. I won't go through the whole interview. Again, I would encourage you to go and watch it. Please do leave a comment telling me if you agree or disagree with my opinions, if you noticed anything else about that interview. I'm genuinely interested to know that this whole thing is popular because people are talking about it. We've all got different opinions. We want to talk to each other about it. So please, let me know what you think. But the last thing I'll say that I observed about the interview, and I couldn't get my mind off it, is her incredible resemblance to David Brent.
A sexual assault in the canal. No, I don't think he had a girlfriend. I think he's homosexual.
22nd of March 2017. Are you?
I've got a photographic memory. I was top of the school, apart from the science.
Things.
I don't lie, and I tell white lies if I absolutely have to, like when my 94-year-old ex-neighbour was dying. We all knew she was dying, and I'd phoned her in the hospital the night before, and I lied.
And he clearly
I gave him the brush off. He asked me to sleep with him with a big green spot in his face one day. I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested.
He asked you to do what?
He asked me to sleep with him.
I would just like to make a disclaimer. I'm not saying she is David Brent or that The Office is based on her real life. It's all probably not true. Has reality TV always been like this? It seems so sad. Like, no doubt it's entertaining, but there's real people involved here. And has the limit on reality TV been pushed so far that now they have to manipulate us into believing it's not all a setup? Everything, we used to know it was a setup, but now they want us to not know. They do say nothing in Hollywood is a coincidence, so this could all just be a ruse by Richard Gadd and Fiona Harvey to propel them into the limelight and get everyone talking about them. I don't believe it is, but it's worth thinking about. Media and reality TV used to be kind of fun and innocent, but nowadays we have rappers battling about who is the biggest pedo. And celebrity culture has outgrown the celebrity. It's not about the person anymore. It's about what kind of dirt and gossip we can get on them? What's the dirty little secret that they're hiding and we can all expose them for? Drake's a diddler. Taylor Swift flies private jet. We don't care about the people anymore. We just want to know what they've done, what things we can out them for. It's not that we're interested in finding out these crimes so they can be punished. It just seems to be all in the media. We want to see how they will react. We want to see what they've done. We want the journey to the end to be as messy as possible and full of gossip and juicy details, and to distract us from our own life. That's my cynical view. My positive view is that Baby Reindeer is an excellent story written by a comedian based on his own life, and it's very entertaining. This attack on celebrities that we see as the norm in media nowadays is also one of the reasons why I'm kind of surprised that in the show, let's be honest, the real person committing the crime is the man who repeatedly raped and sexually abused Richard Gadd. But why are we all obsessing over Martha? Why are we not calling him out? We know there are men in the TV and entertainment industry who will take advantage of people trying to make a name for themselves. So why is this guy not on Piers Morgan interview? Why are we not asking questions about who is this person's real identity? I know it came out saying that people thought it was a certain scriptwriter, which has been proved false. I feel sorry for the guy, but that's it. Why is no one chasing the guy that has actually committed a proper physical abuse crime on Richard Gadd? When you rewatch the show, you start to see in some scenes where you think Donnie is scared or concerned about Martha, but he's actually concerned and traumatized by his past with the screenwriter. And he's not always reacting to Martha. Sometimes he's reacting to this previous trauma. He does actually say at some point in the show, to admit to her is to admit to him. And what he means by this is, if he admits that what he's going through with Martha needs to be reported and dealt with, then he is also admitting that the trauma that he's been holding inside and not wanting to deal with about the scriptwriter also needs dealt with, and that he can't just hold it in. And there is an irony in when he goes to the police and reports Martha for what she's done, but is not reporting what has happened to him in the past. As the series goes on, you actually get a little bit annoyed at Donnie and his reluctance to do anything about what happened to him in the past. But I guess that's kind of all of us. We all have something we know we should do or something we want to do, but we just don't. We let life get in the way, or we make excuses for not doing it, and I guess we just tell ourselves that it's not our fault. Reality TV, celebrity life, war on the news, global destruction, humanity will end. We have never been more comfortable, but at the same time, the world is full of pain and suffering more than ever before. And reality TV, maybe we've been insensitized to it. It doesn't affect us anymore. We need to see people suffering to be entertained. We are always told, don't hurt others, yet all we see is death and destruction on TV, on the internet, in books, in stories, and everything is full of death and pain, and we're told to enjoy it. So we're told not to hurt people, but enjoy pain. It doesn't make any sense. I don't blame any one person for this. It's just what humans are. We like what we like, and Baby Reindeer just sums up how I feel about modern day media. It shouldn't be fun. It shouldn't be entertaining. It's painful. It's unnerving. It's uncomfortable. But I want more of it. But I'm still left with questions of how should I feel? Do I think it's okay? Where will it end? Or do I even want it to end? Either Richard Gadd is a liar who fabricates things for fame and attention and has possibly ruined an possibly innocent woman's life, or Fiona is a compulsive liar, obsessive stalker who needs help from whatever mental health systems we have available for her. If not for herself, then for the victims of her crimes or potential crimes. And we are now all watching the aftermath like it is also part of the TV show. It's reality TV continued. But this isn't reality TV anymore. It's real reality. As media becomes so ingrained in us that we can't separate the morals from media, from the morals from real life. And I thought media and movies and everything was somewhere where we go to escape reality, where we can live a life, where we can inject into our veins the life that we can't have. Or maybe I'm just old. We don't care that these people have suffered. We don't care that maybe they've had some horrible childhood traumatic experience. We don't care if they've got personality or behavioral disorders. We don't care that Richard Gadd was taken advantage of. Or even if he's lying, which I don't think he is. I don't know. But if he is lying and he's possibly ruined this possibly innocent person's life, then again, we don't care. We don't care. We just want to see it. And believe me, I understand. I also have this unhinged curiosity towards life and all the things it can be. The shows we see, they don't have to become reality. But that's what happened with Baby Reindeer. When the show finished, even if it is a true story, it became a real story. It's not a story anymore. But maybe with social media and the internet and YouTube and all this stuff nowadays, we don't need stories. We can just sit back and watch people suffering from the comfort of our own creaky chairs. And we can just sit back and just watch everything with no remorse. If it's not happening in my home, then we're safe. But where does it all end? When Richard Gadd is outed as a liar and career ruined, do we have a trial by social media for Fiona, where we have multiple journalists present their evidence for and against, and a YouTube audience sits there with a yes or no button, waiting to decide this woman's fate? Or do we poke Richard and Fiona into a desert and have them 1v1 on Rust? All good options, in my opinion. In the TV show, Donnie escaped Martha. The impact and the memory will always be there, but he escaped. He finally got his freedom. And then he became obsessed. Obsessed with trying to understand why, trying to find answers, trying to understand who is Martha. Why did she do this to me? And again, that's exactly what happened with the audience. That's what we did. As soon as the show finished, we became obsessed. We wanted to find answers. We wanted to find these people in real life. What Martha did to Donnie, Richard is doing to us. He's driving us crazy to the point where we obsess about it, and we need more. The show is not just about obsession. It's also about comfort. Donnie obsesses over Martha, but he also takes comfort in her. Even after everything is over from her stalking him point of view, he still takes comfort in having her there. Obsession distracts us and Donnie from the meaninglessness of it all. It's easier to obsess about the meaning behind a stalker, or obsess about a celebrity or person, or obsess about becoming a successful comedian. It's easier to obsess about it than to just admit it doesn't mean anything. I think that's why I made this video. I didn't plan to have this kind of ranty video be my first video. I'm worried about the people who are obsessing over this show. It's fun to find out about Fiona and Richard's real life and the issues and line it up with what it looks like in the TV show, but there's people really digging deeper into their lives and doing research and finding out more about their personal life. We've been MK Ultra'd into being stalkers. I'm worried for Richard Gadd, although I think he's doing quite well out of this. I'm worried for Fiona and what her life is going to be like from now on. And I'm worried about the direction the media is taking, stirring the pot of the unfortunate and abused to pay for the silver which coats the spoons of the rich in the media. Every day that I wait to finish this video, there's more drama coming out, more unnerving backstory, more sinister history of Fiona and Richard Gadd, and to be honest, I just can't keep up. At this point, I'm confused. I'm still confused. I don't know how to feel about it. Am I even enjoying it anymore? I don't know. But I am definitely consuming it. And maybe that's what it's designed for. It's not designed to be enjoyed. It's designed to be consumed. Richard Gadd has admitted in a previous interview, prior to the Netflix release, when Baby Reindeer was just a Broadway show, he admitted that he wanted it to be an attack on the senses. It's not so much entertainment, it's just sensory overload.
Period of time getting stalked. I know that seems like an obvious thing to say, but all of your senses feel attacked. You're paranoid. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. You feel on edge all the time. You're constantly worried about hypothetical situations where you bump into this person. And so what I really needed to do when I sat down and thought about how to do this show was how do you get that to an audience? And really the best way to do that is to sort of assault their senses.
Maybe entertainment isn't entertainment anymore. It's evolved into a gluttonous consumption. How much can we make people consume? How much can we distract them? And I find it disgusting. I hope this video adds to your experience of the ongoing Baby Reindeer saga. And I didn't really plan on making this video. It was kind of spontaneous, but it's been consuming my life for the past few days and I had to get it off my chest. I have lots of ideas for future videos. I have one coming up about Japan's most wanted terrorist. I have some horror movie stuff and a lot more gritty and unhinged ideas. If you've watched this video, thank you so much. If I get 1 like, I'll be happy. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and it will really help me going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, thank you for watching this video.